Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here. Little funny thing happened. I was literally recording this video for an entire hour, and then it just ended right in the middle of me speaking, so I'm re-recording what I did before. We're continuing with day 3 of the One Piece 20th anniversary. Last video I did, I talked about the ha-has of One Piece, and before that, how I met One Piece. Today, we're going to be talking about, well, pretty much the main characters of One Piece themselves, and I'm going to keep this short because I'm going to make... I cannot believe I actually talked for an entire hour and all of that footage is gone. Oh well, I'll just make it a lot shorter than an hour this time. We're going to be talking about the main crew of One Piece, the Straw Hat Pirates themselves. Started with Monkey D. Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy, young child raised up in his village under the dream of wanting to become king of the pirates. Who inspired this? Why, none other than the Yonko Shanks, who, in turn, of spurning Luffy's idea of becoming a pirate, gives him his trademark straw hat and tells Luffy to give it back to him once he becomes once he has a powerful crew and comes to the new world. So Luffy holds on to this ideal and sets off when he gets older, having been trained by his grandpa to be a marine, but Luffy still wants to be a pirate. So he sets off and he encounters numerous people, first of which is his first mate, Roronoa Zoro, who has his own dream. He wants to become the greatest swordsman in the world. And by doing this, he needs to beat the greatest swordsman who is currently holding that title, Dracul Mihawk. After certain events happen where they beat a certain captain by the name of Morgan, they set out once again. Then they run into who would be their future navigator, Nami, but she doesn't join them right away, because at the time she's still trying to get enough money to free her village from the hands of one sawtooth-nosed pirate, Fishman. So, Nami leaves, and certain events happen once again. They encounter a clown, they beat said clown, and then they continue on. They encounter a pathological liar with a long nose and a use for a slingshot, and he becomes a part of their crew as their marksman. But I believe I'm speaking ahead of myself because I am not talking, I haven't even said anything about the cook! The cook who becomes part of their crew by the name of Sanji. He didn't want to become a pirate at first, but his dream is to find the All Blue, a place where all the fishes of the world and all the meats of the world converge into one location. So it is literally a chef's dream. So, after certain events happens and they beat the boss of that arc, Sanji joins the crew as the chef. Then they encounter Usopp, back on track, who is a pathological liar, but he means well. And after they encounter a certain cat-themed captain with ridiculously long finger blades, and a capacity to do the SpongeBob shuffle in order to disappear, they beat said captain, and Usopp joins the crew as their marksman, and in the process, they gain access to their first official ship, the Going Merry. So, after that happens, they go to another village, and they encounter who would then be their navigator, Nami, whose village is under the tyranny of one Arlong, who has his entire crew residing in Nami's village. I want to say it's Maple Village. In Maple Village, and is holding it for ransom, telling Nami, you need to get said amount of money in order to free your village, and then me and my crew will leave. Of course Arlong is lying, because no villain ever tells the truth, or at least holds on to their end of the bargain. So, the currently growing Straw Hat crew comes to the park, see Nami in dire straits, decides to help her, and beat down all of the main members of the Arlong Pirates, with Luffy taking down the main boss of that arc as well. And in the process, they gain an official navigator. Nami becomes the official navigator of the Straw Hat Pirates. Then they continue on. Oh man, his throat's getting dry. Continuing, then they encounter Nefertari Vivi, who is a princess from the place of Alabasta, and she wants to go back to her home because there's a war going on. and one of the future crew members of the Straw Hats is there with a certain individual who wants to reap the benefits of everyone dying off in the war, and in order to gain control of the entire country himself. So, when the Straw Hats decide to help Vivi, they go to Alabasta, encounter an organization called Baroque Works. They go... No, I'm actually skipping over someone. They actually go to another island and encounter Vivi. And then she says that someone takes over their country. Then they continue on with their little adventure. They come to Drum Island, where they also encounter the next member of their crew, who will become their doctor. And this is before the individual that's working alongside Crocodile in order to become their other part of the crew. But they encounter Chopper, Tony Chopper, who is a reindeer who actually ate a human devil fruit, which allowed him to take on human characteristics, such as being able to go back and forth in between his animal form and human form, and also have extremely high intelligence. Chopper is a doctor thanks to his inspiration and mentor, Dr. Heroluck, who also unfortunately died in an explosion in order to preserve Chopper's innocence and also to preserve Chopper's mindset, because Chopper unintentionally gave Dr. Heroluck a poisonous mushroom, which also started to slowly kill the doctor. So the doctor decided to kill himself, so that way Chopper would not have to live with the fact that the mushroom that he gave him was killing him all along. So after all that backstory is explained, we come up to the next boss of this island, Wapol, who pretty much disrespects the place where Heroluck literally did business, like the castle that Dr. Heroluck stayed at. Wapol was disrespecting it, calling Heroluck a quack, and anything. I said quack because I'm literally taking that from the 4Kids dub. Ugh! I did not want to do that. But Wapol starts disrespecting Heroluck. Chopper doesn't like it and decides to fight Wapol and his guys. Luffy doesn't like the fact that Wapol wanted to disrespect Dr. Heroluck's pirate flag, which is literally one of the most disrespectful things you can do. So, Luffy beats up on Wapol, defeats Wapol, and Chopper, although at first reluctantly joins the Straw Hat Pirates, he officially joins them because Luffy says, hey, we're friends. Come on, let's go. So Chopper joins them as the doctor. Then continues the rest of Vivi's story for Alabasta. As they go to Alabasta and encounter more Baroque Work members. Also, their future archaeologist, Nico Robin. Though at this point, she's still working alongside Crocodile in order to get close to what she's really after. Had to swallow. Poneglyphs. She wanted to read some more poneglyphs because her people, before they were unfortunately wiped out by a Buster Call, they were known as the only people who could read poneglyphs. They were like some of the most intelligent people in the entire world before a Marine Buster Call completely wiped them out, except for Nico Robin. And all this time, she has been slowly working her way up to getting to more poneglyphs and allying herself with very powerful people to not only protect herself from any encounters with Marines, which is the only reason why she's with Crocodile at that point. Events go through. Nico Robin is picked up by Luffy to join the crew. Crocodile is defeated first. A lot of the Baroque members are defeated first. Crocodile is defeated. Nico Robin asks to join the crew. Luffy says yes, to the behest of everyone else, and then the Straw Hats gain their archaeologists. Events roll by. A lot of events roll by. They have their first run-in with an admiral, Aokiji, who at this time is still cool with the Marines to a certain extent. He doesn't arrest the Straw Hats on the spot, but he does easily subdue Luffy, telling him that, hey, your bounties have gone up. So, but I'm not here to arrest you. But Nico Robin's a dangerous person. And this is alluded to because as soon as they get to the next area of interest, which happens to be Water 7 and the Enies Lobby Arc, they also encounter a stingent of the government, or the world government agency, also known as Cypherpol. And in this case, it's under the current watchful eye of the CP9 section, who is led by Rob Lucci, underneath Kaku, Jabra, Kumadori, Fukudo, Khalifa, and Bluno, who are all watching over this one individual who has plans to a super weapon known as, I want to say Pluton. I hope I said that right. Pluton. Yes, so they're watching after this guy. His name's Iceberg, by the way. And at that same time, we run into our first encounter of the person who will become the future shipwright of the Straw Hat Pirates, Frankie. And he is also one of the best shipwrights on the entire place due to him being trained by Tom, a fishman who also had his hand in building the entire Oro Jackson. The Oro Jackson is the ship that Gold Roger swam in. The Oro Jackson is the ship of Goldie Roger, the king of the pirates. And due to Tom's role into building the Oro Jackson, I believe Tom was either killed or imprisoned for him building the ship of the Pirate King, like the literally most wanted person in the world in pirate sense, because I believe Dragon was still had a role when he was younger, I think. But all this transpires, and then CP9 has a run-up with the Straw Hats, and then Nico Robin is taken by the CP9, held hostage, and then sentenced to death, because they have the intention of sending her to Impel Down and then executing her. This does not bode well for the Straw Hat Pirates, because they're not only losing a person of their crew, but they're also losing a very dear friend. And at this point, after numerous these little arcs in between the Alabasta arc and now, Nico Robin has become a completely trustworthy member of the crew, so much that anything that happens to a single member of the crew is met with fists, blades, kicks, and all sorts of pain towards the person who's trying to wrong the Straw Hat crew. So at this point, the Straw Hats decide to go after her, and in the process, they declare war on the world government, which is literally a suicidal thing for a pirate to do. But in the end, each respective member of the Straw Hat Pirates fight their own respective CP9 bosses, with Luffy, as always, taking down the strongest member of the crew, of the section, Rob Lucci. And we see that, and during this point, there was a little bit of a rift between Luffy and Usopp, because when they got to Going Merry, the Going Merry had encountered such damage that she was literally beyond repair. Luffy wanted to get rid of her and get a brand new ship. Usopp wanted to keep her because of sentimental reasons and because it's the very first ship that they all went on. So there was rift between those two. But at the end of this arc, they both reconciled and they both decide to sail out on a new ship, thanks to Frankie, who now becomes an official member of their crew, thanks to a very painful intervention by Robin. I am pretty sure no man ever wants to deal with that intervention. But they set sail on a brand new ship, the Thousand Sunny, which is their new ship that they're still currently sailing with right now. But it's a thousand, I might as well call it 1,000 times more better than the Going Merry, because it is made to traverse the New World. And the New World is no joke. So, after that's said and done, they head out and they encounter Thriller Bark, where they encounter their most recent member of the crew, Humming Brook, who's a skeleton. A living, breathing skeleton. Oh, but he doesn't have lungs. Ha ha ha, yo ho 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 ho. But they encounter him, and then they encounter another warlord, who by the name of Gecko Moria, who has stolen all the shadows of the people who currently reside on the island and have done many different things with them, such as putting them in zombies created by one of his own underlings, and also for himself that causes him to become more powerful. But the Straw Hat crew fights their respective people. Luffy just beats the boss of that area. Everyone gets their shadows back, and Luffy gains another member in the crew in the form of a musician. Because Brook is a musician. Before he died, he was well versed in all types of instruments. I mean, he can play anything from piano to guitar to violin. He can play them all. So the Straw Hats now recently have obtained a musician for their crew. Now, they set out and numerous things happen. They're all sent in different places due to a certain event that happens in the Sabaody archipelago. And they're all sent off over the world. And at this point, the Straw Hats are not strong enough to go to the New World. Even Luffy himself says that, hey guys, we're too weak. We can't beat these guys. So, due to the intervention of another warlord, Bartholomew Kuma, He sends them all across the world to respective places. Now, here's my theory. Bartholomew Kuma knew what he was doing because they were all put in locations. Sorry, my screen got dim. They were all put in locations where they could get stronger for themselves. They weren't just thrown in random places. They were put in places that they themselves could get themselves stronger. Chopper was put in a place where he can learn different uses for medicine. Nico Robin was put in a concentration camp. But what she encounters later after that concentration camp benefits her greatly. Frankie's put in a place where he can further his cybernetic enhancements because Frankie is a cyborg. Brooke was put in a place where the people think he's the devil for some reason. I don't know. Nami's put in a place where she can improve her weather manipulating ability. Zoro's put on the island where his main target for being a swordsman happens to reside. Sanji is put on literally what he calls the worst place in the world, the new Kamabaka Kingdom, which is nothing but Okamas there. So, yeah, at least he never skipped leg day. And then we have, who else am I missing? Usopp is put on the island to make himself stronger. He gets fat at first, but then he starts to take things seriously after he gets news of what happens during the Marineford Arc War. And then Luffy is sent to Amazon Lily, where he encounters Boa Hancock for the first time. And after certain events happen, he finds out that his brother Ace is in Impel Down, is due to be executed thanks to a person named Blackbeard, who he met earlier but didn't know who he was. And then after all that is said and done, he goes Impel Down, gets imprisoned, then is almost left for dead, but thanks to a certain individual by the name of Emporio Ivankov, who happens to be the queen of the Kamabaka Kingdom, but he is also an Okama himself, heals Luffy, and prepares them all to go to Marineford. Now, at this point, Luffy is pretty much the only one moving around in the world at this point. All the other Straw Hats are still in their respective places that Bartholomew Kuma sent them. So, Luffy sets out to go rescue his brother. And at this point, it's all-out war between the Marines and the pirate crew that Ace is a part of, which happens to be the entire fleet of Whitebeard, who is a Yonko, and is regarded as, after the death of Goldie Roger, the strongest man in the world. So everyone at the Marineford knew that they were in for the fight of their lives. Certain events happen, a lot of people get killed, two major people die, and if you haven't read what these two people are, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But two major people die, and this impacts Luffy greatly because at this point in war, Luffy is almost beaten. Like, literally. Due to an intervention because of a certain admiral, Admiral Akainu. He is the only one to push Luffy to the point where Luffy almost gave up on his dream on being the king of the pirates. But if it wasn't for the intervention of Jinbei, a certain person that they met in Impel Down, then Luffy decided that it's time to get stronger, and he sends a message to his crew through a very cryptic message that only the Straw Hats knew of, that we're not going to meet up in 3 days on the Sabaody Archipelago like we originally planned. We'll meet up in 2 years. That gives us enough time to get ridiculously strong for the New World. Until then, I will see you guys later. That's how that whole thing goes. And as we've seen so far, the Straw Hat Pirates, I still don't think that we've seen the tip of the iceberg of what they're capable of doing. And we've seen them do a lot. Fishman Island, Punk Hazard, Dressrosa, Zoe, and now Whole Cake Island. The Straw Hats are just getting started. Because even though Oda says, even though we've been told that the manga is 65% done, we still haven't seen the extent of what the Straw Hat crew is fully capable of. And this is pretty much how I can rest now. This is pretty much the story of the Straw Hat Pirates as much as I could tell it. Sorry, there was a message that someone sent me. but this is pretty much the clearest that I could tell the story of the Starhead Pirates. I know I'm paraphrasing. I know I'm missing a whole bunch of different things. I know I'm missing out about Rayleigh. I know I'm missing out about the Kizaru and Sentomaru and Shaki and the other supernovas, but this is just a little short summary of the Straw Hat Pirates. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I apologize if I took too long to talk about it. I don't remember each and every single detail, so I'm just paraphrasing. Hope y'all enjoyed it, like I said again, and I can't wait to see you in day 4 as we continue to celebrate the 20th anniversary of One Piece. And as always, let me know, what do you think of the Straw Hat Pirates so far? What do you like about the Straw Hats? Because they're really a good crew, but they also have an anti-crew version of themselves. Will we talk about that later? We shall. As always, I will see you in the next video. And once again, as always, later, peoples.